That fella couldn't do anything. He couldn't even kneel to pray. And he got saved. Are you saved? That fella couldn't join the church. He couldn't join the church. He couldn't get baptized. He couldn't get baptized. He woke up with God. He woke up with the devil. Are you saved? So that fella didn't take the sacraments, didn't take the sacraments. Didn't say the rosary, didn't take the rosary. Didn't tithe, didn't tithe. He went to heaven, he went to hell. You saved? Didn't keep the law, he didn't keep the law. He broke the commandments, he broke the commandments. He didn't keep the golden rule, he didn't keep the golden rule. He woke up in glory, he woke up in the pit. Are you saved? You're saved. If you're not saved, you're over here or you're over here. You sure ain't in the middle. He said, Lord, remember me, thou comest thy kingdom. And Jesus turned to him and said, verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be saved. It's like that. You have been saved? If you ever saved, you were saved like that.
All right. In this video, I want to talk real quick about the dilemma with fake people. And the first thing is if you call out every person that is being fake, family, friends, schoolmates, co-workers, acquaintances, you're going to get exhausted and people are going to look at you as if you're the problem, right? Because everybody's fake, right? And if everybody else seems to be a problem, maybe you're the problem. You know how that works? So you can't just call out all the fake people. Because not only that, a lot of times these fake people fool other people. So even though you can tell they're being fake, because let's say you see through their fakeness, or you know them and other people around don't, a lot of people are going to look at you again as the issue because they don't see what you see. They don't know what you know. Right? And that leads to another problem, and that is if you don't necessarily call them out, but you don't go along with it. You just try to stay away from them. Then all of a sudden these fake people, they got a problem with you because you're not going along with them, right? Whether, they're being a fake friend, or, sometimes at work they're being a insider for the boss kind of thing, trying to see people who are, they're slacking off or whatever it is, and you can tell they're being fake. You know they're being fake, and you're not going along with it. They get upset because you're not going along with it. Or let's say it's at, have to do with church. These people who say they're Christian, but they're trying to get other people to go along with their worldliness, right? With whatever kind of Ponzi scheme they're selling, or they go along with their other worldly activities and whatever it is, right? And you're just not going along with it. All of a sudden you're a problem because you're not calling them out because you know everybody else would turn on you because that's how it is. But you don't go along with it, and they still turn on you because their consciences get into them. They know that you know that they're fake. And even though you're not saying anything, they know people will catch on eventually because they're like, hey, how come so-and-so is always staying away from you, not talking to you, and doesn't go along with these things? That's weird. And it gets them to think, and it gets them to start paying attention, and it could wake them up. So the people who are being fake, they need you to go along with it to quench their conscience because they're worried about being exposed. All right? And then this leads to another issue with fake people, is a lot of the fake people are really, really stupid. All right? Where just because you're not calling them out on it, they actually think that you believe they're being genuine, that they're telling the truth, when they're obviously being fake. All right? You can see it clear as day that they're just BSing you. All right? And since you're not calling them out because they're the kind of person that will deny the truth until they're dead, right? They could be exposed with all the witnesses, with all the evidence, with the whole truth, and all their lies exposed by everybody, and they'll still deny it, right? So what's the point of arguing with somebody like that and exposing someone like that who will just be like, nah, nah, nah? What are you going to do with that? You just walk away from such a person. Or when you have to be around them, you just ignore it. And they think because you're not calling them out that you believe it, right? And they kind of act like, hey, yeah, you're going along with this and that, and you're just trying to do your best to get away from them and not really talk to them and what have you. And they talk to you as if you actually believe them, right? It's as if we can think of something weird, probably offensive. Let's say you had like a white supremacist meeting and a black supremacist meeting, all right? And you have a guy show up to the black supremacist with blackface on, and you have a black dude show to the white supremacist with a white face, right? They just paint their face obvious with makeup. One of them tried to make himself look black with shoe polish. The other one just uses some kind of white makeup, white paint of some kind. And it's obvious that obviously they're not white, they're not black, right? And then they just sit there and they act like you're just too stupid to notice. And they just go along with it, even though everybody's looking at them like, we see you, right? We know that you're fake. And they just sit there and act like you're too stupid to figure it out. All right? That's one of the issues, is a lot of these fake people, they think that other people are just too dumb. Or if people are just, if they just pretend, right? And just pretend like no one notices, people won't say anything because they know that you're crazy and that there's no point in saying anything. So they just kind of let you go along pretending to be what you are, but they're not really buying it. All right? But what are you going to do? What are you going to do, right? And I think this is just the start of the issue with fake people. All right? And another thing with these fake people that I notice is an issue is sometimes they go real overboard trying to get you on their side, whether it's with flattery and doing nice things for you, maybe trying to do gifts, all kinds of different things to try to just be nice to you, try to find out things that you like and try to pretend to have the same interest as you and all this, to try to be buddy-buddy with you. And you know that they're fake, so you're not buying it. You don't want anything to do with them. And you're kind of just like, can't you take the hint? I know that you're fake. I don't want anything to do with you because you're not being genuine. I don't want a fake friend. Right? Somebody who, I'm going to pretend that you care about me. No, I don't feel like pretending. Right? You can go pretend that you care about me, with everybody else. You can go play imaginary, imagine time, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to go along with that. And I don't care how kind and nice you're being, because you're just trying to get a vote like a politician. As soon as you get the vote, all of a sudden you don't care anymore. Just like everybody else who thinks that you're genuine, you're not going around blowing smoke up their skirt because you already got them convinced. You already got their vote. So as soon as you think you have my vote, all of a sudden you're going to treat me just like you treat everybody else, like you don't really care. All right? And, yeah. And I guess one of the side issues dealing with fake people is how many other people not only just don't call it out, which is not a big deal, but they go along with it. Right? People who don't seem to be fake, they get caught up in these things. Right? And it's just kind of like, why? Right? If everybody, even if everybody didn't call it out, but they did something similar to what I'm talking about here and just ignoring it, ignoring these people, they wouldn't be able to go as far as they do. But for some reason, people go along with it. Right? It's ridiculous. And I guess I could go on with all the weird stuff about it. I'm sure you can put your own 2 cents into it as well. And but to wrap up, I'll give some examples. Right? I think the biggest is that we got the majority of Christianity is fake. They're not really Christian. They just call themselves Christian. Right? And I would bring up politicians, but that's obvious, right? They all pretend like they care about you. They don't. And that should be clear by now. It was clear a long time ago, but it should be really clear now, but still, a lot of you caught up in it. I'll just vote for the other party. That doesn't care about me either. Okay. But anyway, with the those that call themselves Christian, you see someone, for example, like the Roman Pope, right? He's the head of the church, right? And he's infallible when he sits in Peter's chair and speaks ex cathedra, right? And he's got all these fancy garbs. They got all this fancy religious gold and silver pearls and precious stones with their artifacts and religious artifacts they use to do their rituals. I couldn't seem to find the word I wanted to use. So just kind of was rambling on there, but thank you for your patience with that. But they sit there and be like, yeah, the representation of Christ, the vicar of Christ. And then you go look at Jesus, who was just a average fella, grew up doing carpentry. Then he left his home and his job. He didn't have a family and lived as a poor homeless man and called his disciples away from their families and to be jobless as well. Like called them from their jobs, whatever it was they were doing, to just follow him. And they gave up this world and the treasures of this world, and they wore the same garments that every other normal person would wear. That's why Judas had to go in and go up to Jesus and give him a kiss so they knew who he was, because he was not wearing any garbs different from everybody else that were around him, such as the fishermen that he called, like Peter and John and their brothers, Andrew and James and what have you. Just a bunch of fishermen. He was wearing similar clothes than them. He didn't look any different from them, right? And then you go and you look at his life about how he helped out those that were poor and needy. And then you go look at the popes, and they'll walk around Africa, around these skin and bone starving children, reaching out to them. And they're just like, yeah, I'm blessing you with my holy presence. Right? Like they're blessing these people by just being there and willing to show themselves to them. Right? Well, they sit all fancy and have nothing to worry about when it comes to food and healthcare and medicine and all that stuff, shelter and all that. They're fine. You know, Catholics will say, well, the Pope doesn't own any of this stuff. Well, he gets to use it all. Right? So, yeah. I mean, the complete opposite. Right? Where Jesus was telling the people, hey, sell all you have, give it to the poor and needy, and follow me. Oh, the Pope and the Catholic Church, oh, no, we're going to store it all up. Right? Obviously, they're being fake. Right? And you call it out, people get mad at you. If you just toss it aside because it's fake, then they got a problem with you not accepting it, right? And it's the same thing with a good chunk of the Protestants. Most of the Protestants. Very similar way, right? Gives lip service to Jesus and all that, but then they talk about a prosperity gospel and giving them all your money, and then you'll be blessed with being rich yourself, and all this other nonsense. It's like just fake people all over the place. And it's weird. It's weird just how rampant it is, and how blatantly obvious it is that the people are fake. I mean, especially when it comes to Christianity, you can look at Jesus, you can see the apostles and the life they lived and how they lived. And then you got these people who supposedly they talk directly to Jesus and they heard directly from Jesus, right? They're his vicar and stuff like this, and they act nothing like Jesus and the apostles. And they do a lot of things contrary to them, or the exact opposite of what they do. Right? Where they're obviously fake. I guess I'll jump to politics real quick to wrap this up, because you got the same thing with the politicians all claiming to be Christian, especially with Trump, who says that he's Christian, even though he says, hey, I don't come to God and bring him into that whole forgiveness thing. I've never come to him for forgiveness. You can't be Christian unless you come to God to get forgiveness. So how can you say that he's Christian? He was asked again, hey, would you change your answer to that? And he said, no, I don't bring God into the whole equation. I just do better, right? And then on the plane, he was asked about going to heaven. He goes, I don't think I'm good enough to go. Well, I thought you were a Christian. It's not about being good enough to go. It's about God bringing you to heaven in spite of you not being good enough. Because it's about his mercy and grace, not about you not needing mercy and not needing grace, right? So obviously being fake, right? You can call it out, you can ignore it, but then you're just going to have flocks of people that blindly support these things. It's like the world lives in an imaginary world. Like they intentionally pull wool over their eyes and tell themselves that the world is different than it actually is. Like everybody has come together into this weird agreed upon matrix. You know how everybody's plugged into the matrix in the movie there, and they got a fake reality? It seems like that's what everybody has gotten into. They've all come to this agreement that this is how everything is. Let's all agree to this. And they just all pretend, right? And I think it's funny because you got all these fake Christians who will call out the left for, this woman says she's a man. This man says she's a woman. Oh, this guy thinks he's a dog. And this girl thinks she's a cat. And these old people think that they're babies, right? They can't accept reality. They're fake. They're pretending to be something they're not. And it's like, so are you. So are you. You're pretending to be Christian. But you're not following Christ. Who are you kidding? But anyway, just kind of ranted about that. Thank you for your time and attention. Appreciate it. Take care. Would it splice into my ending video here? Alright, it's the end of the video. And I figured I would do an ending segment to my video so I don't have to keep repeating myself. But I do want to remind you to do what Isaiah said to do and seek out the book of the Lord and read it, putting line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, doing what Paul said, and studying the word, showing yourself approved unto God, rightly dividing the word of truth. And if you read English, that would be the KJV. And then do what John has Jesus recorded telling the Church of Philadelphia, and keep his word, preserve it, protect it, hide it in your hearts, and not deny his name. And then Jesus will never be able to tell you do err not knowing the scriptures. And he'll keep you from the hour of temptation, which is going to come upon all those that dwell upon the earth here shortly. And with that being said, I'd like to ask you for your support. You watching the video all the way to the end helps out a lot, but if you could like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share the video, share the channel, interact in the comments section. These things help out a lot, especially with people telling me that their likes are not being registered, that they get unsubscribed, and all kinds of other ways being shadow banned. Your help in this way was greatly appreciated. And if you're able to give me a little bit more time and pray to our Heavenly Father that He keeps this ministry going and He uses it to reach those who He wants to reach, to get the truth out to the world, to make it a bright light, and to feed His sheep, to feed His children, and even to bring forth more children, and that He would watch over all of us, His born-again believers, and take care of us, provide for us, and protect us, even after He comes and gets us, which looks like it's going to be real soon. And just to amen in Jesus' name to that should be all we need. But if you could help out some more, I know times are rough and they look like they're getting rougher, but if you're able to support financially, there's a few ways you can do so in the info description box, such as PayPal, Venmo, and there's a couple other ways you can support if you so choose to do so, which would make sure I can keep this ministry going longer than the foreseeable future, because this kind of support has been drying up there. It's pretty much non-existent lately. So if you could help out in that way, it would be greatly appreciated to make sure I can keep doing this. But if you could at least pray, I know God will provide. And sometimes it's a change of ministry, so maybe it won't be a ministry online anymore. But hey, if you want to keep seeing this stuff, pray. And with all that being said, thank you so much again for your time and attention, for watching this video all the way through. I appreciate it. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one, and may God bless you and yours.